We are live, folks. Ready to roll?
Okay, for some reason I'm not coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hang
Oh,
on
you're.
just a second.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on here.
Hmm. Give it a while, folks. Arknolia is getting his stuff ready to roll.
Well, I thought I had it ready. I don't know what the deal is.
Oh. Hmm.
My OBS just told me that I didn't have a stream.
Did you press the start streaming button there?
Yeah?
Huh.
Okay, it looks like it started this time.
All right. That's good to hear. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was for before, but that's okay, I guess.
Um.
It is what it is.
Okay. There. Okay. So, finally, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Noya and the doctor are live after a long, couple weeks here. Well, not necessarily a couple weeks and a couple of bullshit things happening here and there with in my life and I guess your life as well there. But everything is ready to roll now finally,
Yeah.
as we are, and we're about to do episode 25 of our music memory series, and I bragged about it a couple times on my channel and a couple past videos, talking about this and that, and of course, we're going to be talking about the garage rock scene from the 60s on up because there are a lot of, because a couple years back in the early 2000s, the garage rock scene kind of had a comeback with bands like the Strokes, the Hives, and this group, that group there, and of course it's a good reason to call it the garage rock scene because that's the basis where most rock bands start when you look at it there.
Yeah, I did it.
I did it as well. Me and one of the neighbors who played drums, we would jam in our garage, and mostly my garage, most of the time, we would jam, play, kind of learn stuff there. And I also I told the multiple times I played, had some of my equipment, my amplifier out in the garage every Sunday afternoon around 94, 95. I would start, take my guitar out there from my room and start playing and plug it in and start playing. In fact, I did a video one time of my sister taking a picture of me in the garage. I think it was not, I think it was my sister, I think it was our mom taking a picture of me in my get up that I had. I made a video about it. It went back to 1993 there when my hair was a lot more darker and I was wearing these boots. Had that guitar, which, by the way, I miss horribly because it was such a great guitar to play there.
Yeah,
It's
I
on. It's
my
on.
first my first guitar was the old, I don't know if you know about it or not,
Mhm.
the old Sears Silvertone. The amp was the case.
Oh yeah, wow. I remember that. Actually, my first liquor guitar was one of those Tiesco guitars that we got from a Kmart as well,
Yeah.
and that was back in 1979. I was taking guitar lessons at a place called Anderson Music in Roseville, which we were living at that time. Did that for for about almost 2 years. Then I stopped for out of disgruntlement. I don't know for sure what the reason why was. You know, later on around 1980, early 1981, I expressed to my mom and dad about playing guitar once again. They said they decided to get me a more updated teacher because the songs that they were having me learn was, kind of like one of those traditional stuff here, dee 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 dee. So this other guitar player, this teacher, he used to come over to my bedroom, teach me songs from Joe Walsh, from this artist here, you know.
Yeah, that's a little bit more involved than your three chord progression thing.
Yeah, absolutely there. So here we are, and that's just kind of oozed on from there, man. And I
Yeah,
just
and a lot of that grudge stuff came from the impact of the
teach me
British
songs from
groups
Joe
coming over.
Walsh,
Everybody's like,
from
"Oh, wow, I can do this too."
yeah, they did. You gotta give up the British invasion a lot of credit because it's no doubt we said it many times before. You know, guitar sales really went up thanks to the Beatles being on Ed Sullivan at '64 there.
Right.
Yeah, In fact, I mentioned this one, even mentioned this myself. Seeing the picture of John Lennon with his Rickenbacker, you know, just that blew me away. I figured, what, I want to learn guitar, and plus the Beatles cartoons just as well at that time.
Right, right.
And it fits to say. In fact, of course, no surprise, Rickenbacker has that John Lennon signature guitar there that's on for sale for how many thousands of dollars there.
Yeah. And basically, a lot of those groups like the Kinks, the Who, and the Animals, the Yardbirds, and a couple we didn't mention before, the
Yep.
Small Faces. Did we not
Yeah.
mention them?
No, I don't think we did. Steve Marriott was involved with that group before hooking up with Humble Pie. And of course, later became the Faces, and it had Rod Stewart as their frontman.
Yeah, yeah. And they did some pretty good stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Uh, and then there was another group, which I don't know if you've heard of or not, called the Pretty Things.
Yes, I have. I've heard the name, but I haven't really heard of their music.
There's two songs I would suggest.
Hmm.
One of them's called Sorrow, and another one's called San Francisco Sorrow.
Ah, okay. So it's like
Two different songs.
yeah, but it's all revolves around the concept of sorrow, I guess.
Yeah, and they're both essentially from the same album, but I forgot the name of the album.
Ah,
And there's at least one other song, but I can't think of the name of it.
ah.
Then there was Them
With Van
with Van
Morrison.
Morrison.
Van Morrison.
We didn't mention who did probably one of the biggest garage songs ever.
Gloria.
Exactly.
Which the Doors and Jimi Hendrix did covers of. I remember the Hendrix version being, it was a separate attachment single to this record called The Essential Jimi Hendrix Volume 2.
Yeah, there was actually a lot of groups that covered
Oh,
Gloria.
Patti Smith Group as well.
Yeah, and there was another band from Chicago that actually had a hit with that song,
Oh, wow.
The Shadows of Night,
Ah,
which we'll
interesting.
get to them because they had some pretty good songs, I
All
thought.
right there, yeah. Yeah. Of course, of course, garage rock will later be revisited as even Alice Cooper decided to release a couple albums in the early 2000s with the garage rock sound, with that being, of course, the main thing at that point. With some of the bands I mentioned. I'm not too sure some of these bands started out in one's garage, but then again, it had that garage sound. When you think about it, it's
Right,
more. But
right.
those bands like the Strokes and the Hives, they had a much more hipper sound to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll allow Arknolia to take it away with some of the bands that some of these groups that I have yet to even hear about there.
Oh, I'll hit a few of them, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's see. And I'm sure this episode's going to go more than just today
Uh huh.
because there's just a lot of them.
I know there's a lot of out there, and God knows, who knows? This is what.
Yeah. And the other thing about this particular era, it was rife with one-hit wonders.
Ah.
There were a lot of them.
There were a lot of them from the 60s, 50s, and 70s, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
There was a group called the Castaways that had a song called Liar Liar,
Liar, liar, pants on
Pants on
fire.
Fire.
Because
Yeah,
I
that's
remember,
the one.
I think either Debbie Harry or Debbie Harry and Blondie did a cover of that song for some movie, I guess it was.
Yeah. And that was a pretty big hit, about the only one they did, really.
Wow.
Then you had a guy by the name of Rick Derringer that was in a group
Oh,
called the
yeah.
McCoys.
Oh, yeah, we know Rick Derringer. He would do that song, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, All American, the Hulk Hogan theme song, as well as involvement with both Johnny and Edgar Winter.
Yeah, he played guitar for Edgar Winter for quite a while.
Yeah,
If you're familiar with the Edgar Winter Roadwork album,
yeah.
he's featured pretty much on that album
Wow.
because he was the guitar player at the time. And I will mention on that album, they do a 17-minute version of Tobacco Road, which is
Which,
awesome.
yeah, which I guess some other band whose name I forgot about did the original.
Well, Nashville Teens were the ones with the hit,
Hmm.
but Tobacco Road's been done by several groups.
Including David Lee Roth on his first official solo album there back in '86.
Yeah, and McCoys weren't a one-hit wonder. Hang On Sloopy was their big one,
I remember that
but they
song,
had
yes.
they had 7 or 8 other songs that were pretty decent. They did a cover of Fever, which is an old song from the 40s and 50s.
I know what you're talking about, that song there. It's been covered a couple times, you know. I think Madonna did her dance version of that song.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Nope. Everybody did it.
Yeah. Then you had the Outsiders, which had their big hit, "Time Won't Let Me,"
Yep.
which is
Let's live for today.
no, that's the Grassroots.
Oh, that's right. Dang, I
We'll get to them.
mean,
And they actually, the unique thing about the Outsiders is later on there was another band. I think it was Spiral Staircase. I'm not real sure. They had a one-hit wonder, and the lead singer was the same guy that was in the Outsiders. So he had the
oh, really?
distinction of being part of two one-hit wonders.
Yeah. So he's involved with the two groups. Was it at the same time? I think it was.
No, that was a pretty big difference. I
Mm.
don't recall how long, but it was pretty
Ah,
big difference.
I see.
And then you had, let me think a minute here, the Count Five.
Hmm. I don't think I heard of those.
You never heard
No, I don't think I have. No, remember we're talking
Section?
tons of bands
That was
out
a
there. Section?
true. That was basically their one-hit wonder. Although they had several others. I had the album that
Ah,
were pretty decent on the album that didn't get the airplay. If you heard Psychotic Reaction, you know the song.
all right. Gonna have to hear it sometime there. Definitely. Because so
Your
many.
list of songs to hear is getting bigger and bigger talking to me.
I know, yeah, because there are because these are groups I'm not aware of, you know. I've always focused as a kid, you know, on the main stuff that's out there, a little bit on the side here and there.
Well, generally, I liked following the side groups because a lot of times their stuff was at least as good as the main groups.
Yeah, it's true there. I mean, like, I have to agree because a lot more, and it's a lot more interesting than the stuff we hear on the radio. Like, for instance, you know, why everybody was there was this new wave station that was in functioning during the early 80s there. They would play stuff like Duran Duran, you know, Kaja Google. It was
Right.
such and such, you know. And one of the songs they would play was a song called Big Man Restless by Kissing the Pink. And I was a big fan of that song, you know. And I enjoyed hearing that song on the radio a lot of times more than I would hear Kaja Gugu.
Yeah, and I found that to be true in a lot of cases on songs that I liked, that I would listen to them and go, I like that song better than the hit.
Yeah,
And in some cases, the group that had the hit, I like some of their other songs better.
yeah.
Uh,
Like
do you
Duran.
remember this?
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, do you remember the Standells?
The Sandels. The
They
name
had the
does.
big hit. They had their big hit, "Dirty Water."
Oh yeah, which a band called the Inmates later covered back in the early around 1979. I remember that song, "Boston, You're My Home,"
Yeah,
and they were Boston
and
based.
this was a Boston. This was a Boston group.
Yeah, of course they're going to say that. Now, however, the Inmates version, basically it was instead of Boston, I think they replaced it with Detroit. But I think what it was, they probably did that with a couple other cities as well. They probably got the singer when they came in to do radio interviews, such and such, to add either New York or "You're My Home" or Chicago, "You're My Home," you know, just to promote the city there, you know.
Yeah, of course they had to change the river
Yep. Hmm.
to whatever was close. I
Yeah.
think Dallas even had a version of that song, but I don't know who did it.
Oh wow, that's something there. And
Then, of course, there was another basic one-hit wonder by the name of Question Mark and the
oh
Mysteriums.
yeah,
Remember
and
them?
yes, I remember 99 Tears,
96 Tears.
96 Tears. My bad.
Be
And you
too
know,
many tears.
yep, exactly. And this guy's a Michigan-based musician himself, from what I understand, if I'm correct.
Yeah. What's funny is that if you ever heard their follow-up song, uh, what was the name of it? Oh, Can't Get Enough of You, Baby.
Oh yeah.
It is almost identical to 96 Tears,
Oh, that would.
except for the words.
Oh yeah, because that's how that's how probably an idea from the record label, or the band
Oh, I'm
themselves.
sure it was.
Yeah, because they expect you to sound exactly the same, as
Right.
a hit. They figure, oh, the
Well, that's how
public.
dumb they are. That was a hit. Maybe this song that sounds exactly like it'll be a hit.
Exactly. Follow the same pattern. I remember the Beastie Boys talking about people to be upset by a new record because there's not another Fight for Your Right to Party on there.
Right.
Yeah, but then again, that's how record labels are. They want you to expect to repeat the same thing. Do you remember Quiet Riot? They had
Right.
how big they hit with that Slade cover, "Come On, Feel the Noise."
Right. And
The
the
next,
next
and the
two or
next,
three songs sounded exactly like it.
yeah, exactly. Then they did another Slade cover called "Mama We're All Crazy Now," and they arranged it the same way they did. They arranged their version of "Come On, Feel the Noise."
Right.
Yeah. Then, but sadly, sometimes that doesn't always work out because remember the record it came from didn't do so well.
Yeah. And then you had the Music Machine.
Oh yeah, Talk Talk, which I remember that song, which Alice Cooper covered in back in 1980.
Well, what's interesting is it's almost metal, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's real close. Then, of course, you had Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. Wooly
Wooly
Bully.
Bully, yes, heard that
They
on the
had
loudspeaker at work a couple days
several.
ago.
They had several pretty decent semi hits, but nothing was as big as Wooly Bully.
Oh yeah, it's kind of funny is that if you ever saw the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, at the prom, I guess some sort of party they're having at the high school gym. The band that's on stage doesn't cover that song, and Sean Penn, as his character, he comes up there and sings along with them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They had another big hit with a song called Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh yeah, ah, nice.
Remember that one?
I don't think I've heard that one. I may have years back, but now it's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of, hey there, Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
You sure are looking good.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and
Of course, that's which was the main thing at that time.
yeah, and they had another song called Ring Dang Do, which was a minor hit.
Hmm. And kind of unique gimmick for the front man there, I guess, dressing being like an Arab and stuff like that.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that was right. Then, of course, you had the Syndicate of Sound.
Mm.
They did a song called Little Girl, which, if you like 12-string guitar,
Oh.
that song was loaded with 12-string guitar.
Oh wow,
Had a
nice.
nice little riff and a 12-string guitar. Then, of course, you had, it'll come to me, the Music Explosion,
Mm.
who did a song called Little Bit of Soul.
Which Ramones covered.
A lot of these early songs like this get covered.
Yeah, but you remember the album Subterranean Jungle from '82?
Yeah.
Yeah, they covered that song as the opening track from that album. And they also did an excellent cover of Time Has Come Today by the Chambers Brothers.
Oh, the long version of that song on the
I
Chambers Brothers
know,
album
that
is
was awesome.
fantastic.
Absolutely, man. Especially with that. I mean, the bridge of that song is just like with the members screaming out loud, "Whoa!" Ah."
Yeah,
It's like a sound of a revolution going on right then and there with the
yeah,
cowbell.
yeah. That's a great song. If anybody goes to look for it, it's about 11 minutes, I think,
Oh man,
somewhere in
yeah,
that range.
absolutely.
And then there was the Beau Brummels, which you probably have heard of.
What is it called again? The Brumbles?
Beau Brummels,
Mm.
which I have a list for that group because they were actually pretty decent.
Ah, nice.
My number 10 by them was Are You Happy, which
Oh,
is off the Triangle album, which is a nice little song. Well, if it's on my list, in my opinion, is a nice little song.
All right, cool.
Then number 9 I got is Wolf of Velvet Fortune, which is essentially on the same album.
Mm.
Then number 8 I got is Magic Hollow, same album,
All right.
which was next to the last album they did. Number 7, you've bound to have heard of this song, Laugh Laugh.
Laugh, laugh. I don't think I have. No.
Oh, you play it and you'll know it.
Mm.
Then number 6 is a Bob Dylan cover, One Too Many Mornings.
Ah.
Number 5 is a song called Don't Talk to Strangers.
Okay. Because there's two songs that were that with that title. One was done by Rick Springfield, and the other was by Ronnie James Dio. But they're kind of separate there.
Yeah, and I think this one's actually different too.
I think so. Yeah.
Number 4 I got is a song called I Want You, which is on their second album and is a deep album cut, essentially.
Mm.
And then number 3 is You Tell Me Why, which is actually another one of their big hits.
I see.
Number 2 is a song called Just a Little, which was their follow-up to Laugh Laugh, and that's a hit.
Ah, I see there.
And my number 1 is a deep album cut off the second album called Sad Little Girl, which has got a real nice guitar bit where he uses the susses, that where they do the sus, I think it's 4 up and 2 back or something like that.
4 up,
And
2 back.
I think so, but he keeps playing that over and over on the G chord.
Okay.
And it sounds great.
I see.
They liked sus chords and played them on a lot of their stuff. Not a bad. That's an interesting group, and people ought to give them a shot.
All right.
And then I got come on, paper. My paper's not cooperating with me. Okay, the next group I was going to talk about is Tommy James and the Shondells.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they were. No, they. I didn't know they were. They were basically a garage band, but then again, who wasn't?
Yeah, back in those days, everybody was.
Yeah, it's true.
But,
I mean, all those songs, Moni Moni, Crystal Blue Persuasion, and of course, Crimson and Clover.
Right. I have a list for them.
Nice.
Number 10 is a song called It's Only Love.
Mm.
Number 9 is I Think We're Alone Now,
Of
which
course.
was covered by somebody, but I don't remember who.
Tiffany.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I was
the
going to say
teen-
it's one of those teen girl singers.
Yeah, it was. I remember seeing her do it at the promoting herself back in that same year, before prior to the album coming out. It was called the Beautiful You Tour, and I got to tell this story here. It was throughout this weekend at the Eastland Mall back in near Harper Woods. I was heard about it. I checked it out. It was pretty good there. And we got to
Yeah.
say hi and talk and such and such. And she did come around to do a show, and I guess it was '88 after she made it big. And she remembered me.
Yeah, and of those teen singers,
Yeah.
I liked her better than the other one,
Debbie Gibson?
Debbie Gibson.
Yeah. Yeah. But then again, it's kind of funny, and it's kind of interesting that if we ever talk about her, we do got to talk about the hype that she created with the situation with her mom, her stepdad, and everything else, conflicts with her management and stuff.
Kind of pre-Britney Spears.
Yeah, it's something we got to really one of these days we got to talk about. In fact, we'll probably talk about it later on tonight with the Real Spuck TV.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I might even join in tonight.
Yeah, please do, man. We'd like to have you on, dude. Definitely.
Yeah. My number 8 song you're probably familiar with, Hanky Panky.
Oh, I remember hearing that. I think, yes, I do.
That's not a hard song to play, actually.
Mm.
I mean, it sounds like it is when you hear it,
Ah.
but it's really not because it's just up and down on the same. I can't explain it right now, but you'd know it if you heard it.
Uh-huh.
Number 7 was covered by Billy Idol, Moni
Yep.
Moni.
Absolutely. Yep. We know that.
And number 6 was a song called Ball of Fire, which was actually a pretty decent song.
Ball of Fire, nice. I almost thought it was a different version of Ring of Fire, but I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, what
Oh
you're
no,
talking about,
different,
Earl?
different song.
Ball of Fire,
Totally different
or
song.
Great Balls of Fire there.
Yeah. No, this is a Tommy James song. There's
Ah,
no other.
yeah.
Number 5, I got an interesting song called Cellophane Symphony. And the reason it's interesting is it's like Prague before Prague.
Ah,
It's
prog
about
rock.
8 or 9 minutes long, and it gets real involved, but it's fun to listen to.
I see.
And it does some real interesting stuff. It's worth a listen.
All right.
Sorry, that's my cell phone. Yeah,
Ozzy in the background.
yeah, yeah. I make my own
And I
ringtones,
remember,
and I like that one.
oh, I have a ringtone of some noises that the group Skinny Puppy had laid down on vinyl years ago. That's my ringtone there. It's a piece from the track Lust Chance from Last Rites.
Well, I have several different ringtones. In fact, that
In fact,
reminds me of one
in fact,
that.
I know, I recognize it. See You on the Other Side by,
Right.
yep, I remember that song.
But that reminds me, one of my other ringtones is another group from this era that I completely forgot about. I don't think we mentioned. A group called Marmalade. They did a
Marmalade.
song called Reflections of My Life.
Ah,
Great song.
I
I
see.
suggest everyone find that one and listen to it.
All
I
right.
think it was their only hit. Number 4 is a very familiar Tommy James song, Sweet Cherry Wine,
Ah,
which that's another anti-war song.
oh, really? And I guess
Yeah, listen to the words.
the sweet cherry wine they're speaking of is the blood of all the soldiers.
Probably,
I'm thinking,
probably.
yep, most likely, yes.
And if I can think of them, I thought of 2 more anti-war songs that we didn't. Deep Purple, Child in Time.
Oh, wow. I remember I had that album that it came on in rock.
Yeah, but that's an anti-war song if you listen to it.
Oh, really? Yeah, I never knew about that. I thought it was because in the on the liner notes of the album, it was described by the band members as a story of a loser. It could be you.
Yeah, great song. Well,
Like
we'll get to
the
Deep
opening
Purple someday.
the opening track Speed King, they said it was just a few roots replanted.
Yeah.
If you listen to the lyrics, you know what I'm talking about. And Childhood Time, that was the screeching Ian Gillan does on that track.
Oh,
Holy
is
moly.
that is some incredible vocals.
Oh God, I'm swearing you still have a voice after that.
No kidding.
How much did he grab his nuts to make that reach that high pitch? You know, and what?
Yeah, especially that third time around. I mean, wow.
Damn.
My number 3 by Tommy James is Crystal Blue Persuasion, which was
Well, we know that.
one of their big ones.
First time I heard of that, it was on one of those compilations. I don't know what year it came out, but it had a lot of stuff from the 60s. It had that one.
Yeah.
It had the shortened version of Vanilla Fudge's Supremes cover, as well as there was a thing by T Mex or something like that, or Joe Tex, I think his name was. It's all right. And they also had a let's see, Son of a Gun. Oh yeah, San Francisco Nights by Eric Burden and the
Right,
Animals.
right.
A lot of stuff there.
And my number 2 is a song called Dragging the Line.
Ah,
Have you heard that one before?
tired of dragging. No, no, that's something different there. I'm thinking of
It's
I'm thinking of another song there.
well, it's a pretty decent song. The song that I'm mentioning, you really need to try to find because I think you'd like them.
Hmm.
And my number 1, Crimson and Clover.
Yeah, which you remember Joan Jett covered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
man.
I like the Tommy James version.
Yeah, I know because it's a lot more longer and it has a different effect on the and clover. Yeah, they put. I guess they put his voice through one of those what do you call it effects that the guitar amplifiers had at that time.
Oh, was that a Leslie? No, that wasn't a Leslie.
Mm.
Uh, Shoot, I can't think of the name of what it was.
Wow.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because my first amplifier, which was plastic, by the way, when we got that old TS guitar, had that included in it.
Right, right.
So I know where you're coming from there.
Yeah, and then there was another group about this time that had a enormous hit. Uh, Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Incense and Peppermints, I remember that as
Right.
well.
They had several other songs that were pretty good, but
And you know
nothing
what?
did as well as
And you,
Incense and Peppermints.
I know. You know, it's kind of funny. I had all this bunch of sheet music that my mom and my used to give me all the time when I was learning
Right.
guitar. You know, it was stuff from the Beatles, songs from the band America, and a lot of others there. And one of them included was sheet music for that song, Incense and Peppermints. You know, like, oh
Wow.
wow.
And that song's not as easy as you would think. It's not difficult, but it's one of the bands I was in covered it.
Mm.
Now, of course, we couldn't do some of the things they did.
Oh yeah,
But, it was.
it was.
It's not a. It's not a hard song, which actually reminds me of another song. Do you remember a group called Vanity Fair?
I don't think I have, and this is not the magazine, by the way. You should say.
Hitching a Ride.
Hitching a Ride. It sounds familiar there. Because I
Well,
remember
if
the
you heard
band.
it, you'd know it.
Okay, definitely. And it's not Boston, by the way, because they have a
No.
song of the same title on their first record.
Right, and this one's a totally different song.
Okay, there.
But it's a nice little song. Band I was in covered that one.
Ah, nice. All right.
And then the next group I got coming up is a big one. Paul
Oh,
Revere and the Raiders.
oh my goodness. Mark Lindsay and the boys, right?
Right.
I remember it came because it became later on Paul Revere and the Raiders featuring Mark Lindsay. He was the front man, I guess it was.
Yes.
And it was now
Yeah.
was there an actual Paul Revere in the group? I think I remember asked that. Oh,
Yes.
there
The
was.
organ player.
Oh wow.
His name was Paul Revere.
Oh wow. It's something in there. And they dressed in bicentennial outfits at that time.
Right. Right.
Good gimmick there when you look at it. You know, with the name Paul Revere alone there.
Yeah. And I got a list of 10 of these guys.
And I do a couple. I know one of them definitely, which is
Let's
probably
let's
let's.
let's see if you pick it out or if I missed it.
All right.
Okay, number 10 I got I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, which actually the Monkees recorded at the same time. They had the hit.
Ah. Yeah, it was a. I guess I think the Sex Pistols even did that one time. I believe I remember hearing years back on one of those new wave
Yeah.
radio programs.
I liked both versions. I thought both versions had their high points.
Yeah,
So I liked both
I like
versions.
I like the lyrics of that because it's the narrator telling this girl off. You used to be such a humble person, but then now because you got all high and mighty, you think you're above everybody else.
Yep. Number 9 was their first hit, a song called Steppin' Out.
Hmm. I don't think I've heard of that. No.
I think you'd like that one too.
All right.
Number 8 I got is a song called Hungry.
Hmm.
Number 7 is a song called Ups and Downs.
Okay.
Number 6 is Good Thing.
Good thing. You know, there's not to find the Uncannibals song with the same title,
Right.
right? Okay, I want
No.
to make sure because when I hear the certain familiar song titles, it makes me think of the other song with the same title there.
Right. Then the next one I got, number 5, Just Like Me.
All right.
And number 4 is The Great Airplane Strike.
Hmm. And I guess
That's another interesting song too.
because it was based on a true story, if I remember.
Yeah. Number 3 might be one of the ones you're thinking of.
Yep.
Kicks.
Oh yeah, we know that's the one that comes to mind with that group because that song was an anti-drug song,
Yeah. Big song.
big
And
song, and the
number
message.
2 was, yep. And number 2 was probably their biggest song, when they were just the Raiders.
Ah.
Indian Reservation.
About the Indian reservations with
You
where's
know, they took the whole Cherokee Nation
yep.
and put us on this reservation. Great song, actually.
Ah, interesting there.
I think the original artist was Don Fardo, if I'm not mistaken. Then my number one is a song called Too Much Talk. That song drives. I mean, that is probably easily their hardest song.
Mm.
A great song.
All right.
Like I said, listen later and pick out some of these and go find them.
All right, definitely.
I think you'll be surprised how good some of these are.
All right.
And let's see. Next, I got some groups from New England. One of them's called the Barbarians.
All right.
They had a song called "Are You a Boy or Are You a Girl?"
Are you a boy? Are you a girl?
Yeah, kind of weird, but hey, what
But
can I say?
you know, it's a couple people used to make you know, all the hippies out there with the long hair. I probably got that a lot by regular citizens there.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what the song's about.
Yep.
And then another group from the New England area was a group called the Remains.
Mm.
And
All the love passed by. Correct.
I don't remember that song, and I was trying to remember there is a song they did, the Diddy Wah Diddy.
The
They covered the old, I
Manfred
think,
Man.
no, that's Do Wah Diddy.
Oh, that's right. Duh.
Diddy Wah Diddy is a Captain Beefheart song, I believe.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. Frank Zappa's old buddy there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then another group that was actually turned out to be pretty big for to some degree was the Blues Magoos,
Mm.
one of the first psychedelic bands.
I remember hearing the name there.
And I got me a small list on them too.
Nice.
Okay. And like I said, when you listen to some of these songs, you're going to go, whoa, you know, this is some early psychedelia, and some of it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Number 10, I got the song called Chicken Wire Lady.
Chicken Wire Lady there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Number 9's a song
That's a
called
new one.
Getting, yeah. Number 9's a song called You're Getting Old, which actually was more of a semi-ballad,
Ah.
but it's a nice little song, actually.
Um,
And then number 8 is Gotta Get Away. Number 7 I got is, here's another weird title,
Okay.
Scarecrows Love Affair.
okay. That's a new one there.
They used some strange voice things on that song, but it's a lot of fun to listen
All
to.
right. That's interesting there.
Now, number 6 is a song you probably have heard if you've heard anything about Blues Magoos. We Ain't Got Nothing Yet.
I don't think I have, no. You're right. I do need to listen to that.
Number 5 I got's their cover of Gloria,
Yep.
which is about 6 minutes long, and they go psychedelic on it. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
it's incredible.
All right.
Number 4 is a song called Pipe Dream.
About
My-
someone with a pipe dream, I guess.
I guess so. Number 3 is a song on their second album called Rush Hour. That you want to talk about a song that really does some psychedelic stuff. That one does it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is a cover of a Move song,
Oh.
I Can Hear the Grass Grow.
Ah. And of course,
And-
we know the Move. Jeff Lynne, Bev Bevan, and Roy Wood would later, of course, form would be known as ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra.
Right. And my number 1 is a song called I Can Move a Mountain,
All right.
which the song in and of itself is a semi-ballad, but the part that I liked was the fuzz bass line in that song is fantastic.
Wow.
I don't know who was playing bass on that song, but it has one of the best bass lines I have ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't start right away. It starts about
All
a
right.
minute and a half into the song, and the guy goes all over the place on it. It's incredible. If you're looking for something a little bit different, that would be it.
Ah.
Great song, But like I said, the bass on that song is, when you get to it, it's like, holy cow. And it's kind of like a fuzz bass, which you don't hear that much.
Yeah.
And then we got, do you remember a group by the name of the Seeds?
No, I don't think I have. No.
You had Pushing Too Hard. That was almost a one-hit wonder. And a group called The Leaves,
Mm-hmm.
which had a great version of Hey Joe.
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, who originally did that song? Was it Albert
I don't know
some?
who the original was, but
Let me look
Hendrix
it up.
covered that.
Oh yeah, we know that. I'm gonna look it up right now. The song "Hey Joe" and the real meaning. Well, we all know the meaning behind it, but I'd like to find out if it was based on a true story here or there. Now,
Yeah,
I got the Wikipedia. Da, 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 da. Here we go. Definitely look it up. It's become a. Here it is on the Wikipedia. It is a song from the 1960s. It has become a rock standard. Has been performed in many musical styles. Um, it was about the story of a man who was on the run and planning to head to Mexico after shooting his unfaithful wife.
yeah,
Billy Roberts, registered that song for copyright in the United States. It was recorded in 1968 by the band The Leaves. It was the earliest form of that song. It was released as a single. They re-recorded the song the following year as a follow-up single, which became a hit in the USA. And Jimi Hendrix recorded it for his first single with his band, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, at the album
yeah.
Are You Experience, which, by the way, I've been seeing reissues up at my workplace there, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of it. It seems they got rid of some of the CDs and they replaced them with vinyl, since vinyl is the main thing nowadays there, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And the authorship of that song has been contested, and different recordings have been credited to its writing to either Billy Roberts or Dino Valnetti. And of course, it has also been traditionally listed as a traditional song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
interesting.
one of those kind of songs that if a group covers it, there actually should be two singers, one that's asking the questions and one that's answering the
Oh
questions.
yeah, that
That's
song.
that's my thought about it anyway.
And we also can't forget Ice-T's Body Count doing their version for a Hendrix tribute album, I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Next group is a group called Love,
Oh,
Arthur Lee.
Arthur Lee. I've heard about this band many, many times there. Um,
Well, the one song that I would suggest that definitely find and listen to is one called Seven and Seven Is.
hmm,
That song really moves and it does a lot
wow.
of good stuff.
Good, interesting there. And this is and basically this is one of those psychedelic bands there with one of the members standing out above the rest.
Pretty much, yeah. That's a good
Well,
description.
how was their sound like? Was it like something like The Doors? Was it all psychedelic, or was it hard driven and psychedelica?
They mixed it up pretty good.
Mm.
Uh, they did a cover of My Little Red Book,
Ah,
which I don't remember the original artist, but I know Manfred Mann did it first.
oh yeah. Because I've been
And
here,
then,
because the magazine I used to read about, Cream, which was also based out of Michigan at that time, often talked about this band, and of course Arthur Lee him many times in a few articles here and there.
yeah, this is a band worth listening to.
All right.
Then the next group is the Electric Prunes,
Oh yeah, I had
Dream.
too much to dream last night.
And then another song that is on the same album, which was their follow-up, which is actually another pretty good psychedelic song, is
Yeah.
"Get Me to the World on Time,"
Uh huh.
which is worth listening to.
All right there.
And they had another album called, oh, what was that album called? I don't remember, but it had a song on it called "The Great Banana Hoax." That was a pretty decent song.
All right.
And then you had the Premiers,
Yeah.
Farmer John, little party song, you might say.
All right.
And then you had Cannibal and the Headhunters.
Okay. That's a
They had
cool.
a
That is a, nowadays sounds like a cheesy name for a death metal band nowadays.
Yeah, and actually, they did a song that you probably have heard. I don't know if you've heard their version, "Land of a Thousand Dances."
Oh, I remember that. Yes, definitely. I remember that Jay Giles did that on one of their live albums back in '83, I think it was.
Yeah, a lot of this
And
early stuff
and
gets
also
covered.
and plus, the stars of the WWF at that time, they did their version of it.
Yeah,
You remember
yeah,
the first wrestling album from 1985?
yeah.
Oh gosh.
And another group that had a pretty hard driving sound, you might say,
Hmm.
was a group called the Shadows of Night. They were from Chicago.
Ah.
They had a hit with them, their version of Gloria,
Oh yeah.
and they covered a Bo Diddley song called "Oh Yeah," which
Ah.
is another pretty good one. And then they had some other songs that they got into fuzz with.
Ah.
"I'm Gonna Make You Mine," a couple others, but I can't recall what they were off the top of my head.
All right. Interesting.
But basically, they said they recorded that song in the studio live with the amps cranked beyond distortion.
Oh wow.
So
So
and
instead of up to 11, they turned it up to 21.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then MC5 came about
Oh
from
yeah.
this particular time, which you
Oh
probably know
yeah.
them.
Oh
I
yeah. Who
think the
doesn't? Yeah.
MC stands like Motor City.
Correct. Yes. I remember, Wayne Kramer. The main members I remember was, Fred Sonic Smith, Wayne Kramer, and Rob Tyner.
Yeah, yeah,
I remember seeing Rob Tyner in concert at the Ritz in Roseville. I guess it was in 1990. He released an indie album. I guess it was something like that. I forgot the name of it, but the following year he passed away, and there was this big tribute at the State Theater there. And for what I understand, the same night they had this tribute with all these local groups up there. The Cult was playing the Fox Theater,
Oh wow.
and they heard about the concert. And after their set, they came over and checked out the Rob Tyner tribute show, saying that the MC5 was part of their influence as well.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
there is footage of the MC5 playing at an outdoor show. I guess at some university. I think it was Ann Arbor or which it was, and just to see them just see them shake up shit like they did is such a good thing, because some of these stupid pop bands out there need to learn about this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it fits to say, and I remember a dude named Steve Costan on the radio station one time, who's a local DJ. I don't know if he's still functioning or not, but he said that all the bands from Michigan, whether it's the Stooges with Iggy Pop, the MC5, Bob Seger's System, they always had a lot more harder edge to their sound.
And of course, you had Mitch Ryder.
And Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, whose a couple members would later form another band called the Rockets.
And he actually did another group called Detroit.
Yes, in which he covered Lou Reed's and the Velvet Underground's rock and roll.
Yeah.
You had ever heard that version?
Yeah, actually I have.
Awesome version, man.
Yeah.
Awesome version.
I used to have Detroit's first album.
Oh man, great. Yeah, dude, they need to start. Dude, one of these days we got to do a bands from Detroit.
And actually, I'd like to add Texas to that.
Absolutely. I remember me and YR did this on one of our old series, spotlighted on that, And I don't know if you saw one of my videos past some. I would like to do something with Devious Dave Rose on
When we get
Canadian.
to Canada. Yeah, when
Canada.
we get to Canada, definitely, because he'll know more about that than either one of
Oh
us.
yeah. Well, there's some member I knew. There was Max Webster, Rush, Saga. There was a Skitty Puppy, Frontline Assembly. The
Triumph.
Triumph. Yes. The Guess
Guess
Who.
who?
Yeah, that's right. Bop and Turner
Bogman.
Overdrive.
Yeah, of course they
Oh.
follow each other.
Yep. We got it definitely. Probably when I get sometime I'll get a hold of him. I'll message him on Skype and see about name the time and the place, and I'll definitely let him know when if he likes to come on. Because it's been a while since I heard from him.
Yeah.
And by
Well,
the way, that the one of their albums by the group Love, Arthur Lee and his band there, that their third record, Forever Changes from '67, is regarded as their artistic masterpiece. It was added to the Library of Congress's National Recording
that's a
Registry
good
in
album.
2011.
I don't remember if 7 and 7 is on that album or not.
Mm.
Uh, Texas bands, 13th Floor Elevators,
Yeah,
Roky Erickson.
Rocky Erickson. Now there's a lot of stories about this guy. He did an interview. I mentioned this before, saying he was like
Yeah.
an alien from Mars and shit. And apparently, I don't know if did he have a mental illness, from what I understand, or if I wasn't, correct me.
From what I saw, because I saw a documentary on him too,
Yeah,
it's almost like, yeah, that's exactly what the deal was with him.
yeah,
Because he was, he
out
was
there.
out there.
Yeah, he was.
In fact, if you want to hear a song by them that will kind of epitomize them, it's a song called You're Gonna Miss Me, which was possibly their biggest hit,
Uh,
although it was a local thing.
mm.
And they had a string of albums. They didn't just have one, they had several.
Didn't the Sir Douglas Quintet cover that song one time?
No.
Probably
Uh,
it. I think it's I'm thinking of another song with the "Miss Me" in the title there.
that could be.
Yeah.
Um, then there's another band that's definitely worth listening to
Yep.
from Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
It's called the Zachary FX,
All right.
Zakary
Nice.
They did a song called Bad Girl, which was, again, frantic, sped up, the whole bit. And they did another one called Face to Face. And they did a lot of fuzz type guitar stuff. They're worth a listen.
All right.
Then there's another group called the Moving Sidewalks from Houston, which had an interesting guitar player, Billy Gibbons.
Oh yeah, cool. From Z's run that little old band from Texas.
Yeah. But those were some good ones. And then there's the Outcasts, uh, who had some local stuff going on too. And then one of the bigger Texas type bands is a group called the Five Americans,
Mm.
who were actually from Oklahoma but moved to Texas. And they had a song called Western Union, which you've probably heard before.
I think I have. I'm not too sure when. Somehow, must have been when I was a wee kid, if I remember.
Yeah, and then they had another one called I See the Light, which was, I think, 65, something like that.
Ah.
And then there was another group that was from Arizona called the Spiders,
Mm.
which is interesting because they had a guy by the name of Vincent Furnier in that group.
Which would later become Alice Cooper.
Exactly.
Yep, from Detroit.
And they actually had two or three. Well, actually, Alice Cooper wasn't from Detroit. He moved there.
Really? Same as Eminem.
Yeah.
Because he was born in Kansas City, and him and his mom later moved to Detroit there.
Yeah, they after they got up there and messed around for a few years, they decided to change their group name to Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
So
And the rest is history.
yeah. Then had a my brain left.
Oh wow.
They
Shout
had
out.
another. Go ahead.
No, guys, shout out to Minnesota Vikings saying they did chat. Hey, what's up? I'll be ready when we're done here. We got about 5 minutes here to get things set up for later on tonight. And definitely, I would like to invite Arknolia to join in on the subject of Britney Spears tonight. Definitely got to talk about that.
Yeah, and you got a couple of Canada bands at this time
Oh yeah.
called the Poppers
I don't
and the
think I've
Minor
heard of.
Birds.
I don't think I've heard of those.
Well, the Minor Birds are interesting because they had the combination of Rick James on lead vocals and Neil Young on
Yeah, I've heard
guitar.
of that. Oh, I remember that story. Yes, definitely.
And they actually had Bruce Palmer in that group too.
Bruce Palmer, who I don't think I've heard of them. I don't think.
Well, Young and Palmer ended up in California and joined a group called the Buffalo Springfield.
Oh wow! And what's even interesting is that there was a story that Rick James was kind of like on the run from the U.S. government because because he dodged the draft, and I guess the band had a quarrel with the management, and I guess the management spilled the beans on Rick James, and he got busted and did some time in prison for a few years there before getting out and becoming one of the P-Funk legends next to Prince, with the Stone City Band.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and of course you got to talk a little bit about Buffalo Springfield because they also had Stephen Stills, Richie Furay,
Richard Fury. Mm-hmm.
and we all know those guys went on to bigger and better things.
Yep.
And Buffalo Springfield only had 3 albums, but those were actually some pretty fantastic albums.
And we know the hit song from that group, For What It's Worth,
Right, right, right.
Which I remember, if you ever remember the Muppet shows, they had a couple Muppets, still doing their version of that song.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's kind of fun to watch them.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed them a lot. My favorite was when Alice Cooper was on there as well. And they also had Mark Hamill on there as our guest host.
Yeah, yeah. And then you had Australia had a couple of decent groups.
The Easy Beats?
Absolutely, the Easy
Yeah,
Beats.
yeah. I'm not sure anybody remembers. Had George Young and Henry Fonda, who would later, produce some of AC/DC's earlier albums like High Voltage and couple others there. I think Powerage was another one of them. And of course, had a project of their own called Flash in the Pan. You remember this track, Hey St. Peter from 1979. That was big on the
Yeah.
radio for what I remember there. And I guess he had some sort of success with the. They also wrote a song called "Love Is in the Air," which a guy named I think I
Oh,
mentioned it.
yeah. And I'm trying to remember the
Which
guy's
was it?
name.
Yeah, I think it was let me see, dang gummit, John Scott or something like that. Let me Love
That doesn't sound right.
is in the air. There we go. Let me go there. Blah 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 blah. John Paul Young from
Right.
1978.
For some reason, I had John Paul in my mind, and I said, well, it's not John Paul Jones.
Now, I know because I don't think the bass player from Led Zeppelin would touch that one there.
No, that's not his style.
No, absolutely not.
And of
No.
course, there's one band from Australia that we've all heard of,
Yep.
the Bee Gees.
All right. Oh yeah.
And I have a list for that group.
One of the most interesting genre-changing groups of all time. Because remember, they started out as trying to be like the Beatles, ended up being
Right.
called second-rate Beatles, and then they converged over to the R&B, funk, disco sound for the later part of the 70s.
Now, I'm going to tell you, my list is up to that period.
Yep.
I don't have anything from the disco era, although I like some of them.
Well,
Don't
the,
get me
the,
wrong.
the song Night Fever is pretty good there. I could take that
Yeah.
over Staying Alive, which we've heard so many damn times, overdone there.
And I like Nights on Broadway.
That's true. I often hear that at the grocery place that I work at few
Yeah.
times there.
I mean, I could sit there and name some of them that I did like, but by and large, my top 10 are from the era before.
We love songs like Words.
Well, it'll be there.
Yes.
Number 10, I got Massachusetts, which
Hmm.
has one of the weirdest opening words in
Ah,
lyrics in history.
yeah.
Heel, I'm going back to Massachusetts. Like, what's heel got to do with it?
Probably means like chill out or something like that,
Yeah,
like
I
it's,
guess.
you know,
I'm not sure what they were trying to say.
I don't know, probably talking to a dog saying heel.
Yeah. Number 9 is a nice old song on their first album called Holiday.
Ah.
And number 8's also on the first album, New
Hmm.
York Mining Disaster 1941.
All right.
Have you seen my wife, Mrs. Jones?
Ah.
Do you know what it's like on the outside? Something like that. I don't
Kind of
recall the
like a
exact.
missing persons song there, like not missing people, I guess you would say there.
Yeah. And number 7, I think a pretty decent song too.
Hmm.
Every Christian lion-hearted man will show you.
Ah.
That's also on the first album.
All right.
Number 6, I Can't See Nobody.
Hmm.
That's on the first album.
Oh wow.
Number 5 is a song called Lemons Never Forget, which I believe is on their second album.
Ah.
Number 4 I got is With the Sun in My Eyes, which is also on that album, which is a pretty decent little song.
Nice.
Number 3 is Sweet Song of Summer, which is actually an instrumental,
Hmm.
but it
Oh wow.
does some pretty cool things with a synthesizer.
Nice.
I take it back. It may not be a total instrumental, but it's memorable for the music in it.
All right.
Number 2 is Words.
Oh yeah.
I
Remember
absolutely love that song.
that was on a compilation I had. It had a Cream's White Room, Traffic's version of Feeling All Right. I'm a Man by the Spencer Davis Group, as well as Give Me Some Lovin'.
Right. And my number 1 song is a song called Lonely Days,
Mm. You know what?
which is a pretty neat little song, too.
You know, Speaking of which, I got to bring this. How bad do you feel for Barry Gibb, being the only BG brother left?
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's the youngest one.
Yeah, he's the
Well,
only.
other than Andy.
Yeah, who died in 1988.
Yeah, he went a long time ago.
I know. Yeah, it's a lot of years, and then it was
I still remember
Maurice.
his thing with who was the actress? She was on Dallas.
She was on Victoria Principal.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, she left because of his constant drug use there.
Yeah, I can't really blame her.
Yeah. It's kind of funny is that you got to give the Bee Gees credit. They were able to obtain ownership of their songs, and and for a long while, including the stuff from the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. It was, I guess, a record label called Reprise Records would later reissue the CD format and later the vinyl format now for and it was of course under a different label, but underneath it says, the copyright is or the copyright and patented by Barry Gibb, Robbie Gibb, and the estate of Maurice Gibb,
Yeah,
which is good. I believe in that artists should own the copyrights of their own work. I mean, like this is their children when you think about it.
right,
Too many
right.
time, and this includes King Crimson, Pink Floyd, Iron Maiden, Bruce Springsteen, John Mellencamp. They own ownership of their stuff there because, you know, you know how record labels are. They could put out compilations after compilations after compilations with the same old songs here and there. I mean, look how many times they did that with Hendrix and Deep Purple.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's amazing.
I know. It's like the same old stuff over and over and over and over. But you got to keep doing this, man. You got to remember, blah blah blah. This is what the public wants. Well, I remember the public, and I'm not exactly. But then again, you know how they are.
Yeah, I don't want to keep seeing the same stuff over and over again.
All right, so do I.
Even the good stuff, I don't want to see over and over again.
I know. We after a while, 'cause that's what kills it.
But
You know.
there's two other bands I want to mention because to me, They had a lot to do with the precursor of metal, and they don't get the credit they deserve.
Yeah. Okay.
One of them.
No, go ahead. Well, I know Minnesota just contacted me. He said, "Are you ready there? Because I'm about to go live in a few minutes there."
Okay, let's finish this up real quick. Then I'll just
Okay.
mention those two groups,
All
and
right.
we'll do a part two next time we get together
All
because I
right.
had more stuff.
All right.
First group I'm going to mention is a group by the name of Blue Cheer. That first album they
Oh
did
yeah.
is about as metal as it
Metal,
gets, and
metal, baby,
it was
metal.
definitely released before any
Heavy
of the
metal
stuff
is even stuff, even before Black Sabbath and even Steppenwolf.
yeah, exactly, and we'll get to Steppenwolf later next
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then the other group I want to mention, actually I don't know exactly when they came out, is a group called Frigid Pink.
I've heard that name.
They had a cover of House of the Rising Sun
Ah,
that would blow you
I
away.
think
I
I've
mean, it
heard
is
that. I've heard that.
definitely heavy.
All right, I remember hearing that.
It it's definitely worth a listen.
All right, there.
Well, they had other stuff too, but we can continue with that if we want to jump off this and do the other thing.
Yeah, definitely. Excuse me there. Yeah, definitely will then end the show tonight. I'm checking my schedule. I think I may have Saturday off, so we could continue part two there.
Yeah,
Hopefully
that's fine
so.
by me.
Hopefully so there. Okay, so we're gonna end the show for tonight. Remind everybody, to keep tuning in, and give us suggestions here and there for upcoming episodes and things there.
And give us your list if you got one.
Yes, definitely. Contact us on our Twitter pages or on Skype there or in the chat here of our shows. Let us know, dude, guys.
And subscribe to my channel too.
Yeah, subscribe to both our channels as well. Okay, I'm going to end it there, and I'm going to we're going to join Reels Fuck TV, which is started right now. And you coming along, Ark?
Sure.
Okay, let's do this, sir. You guys have a good one. Bye bye.